Welcome to the Judy Gaman Show. I'm your host, Judy Gaman, and boy, do we have a show for you today. But before we get started, I have to tell you about a sign I saw at the airport that I thought, we really need to take a tip from the Knoxville, Tennessee airport, and we should all have this sign. So right after I went through security, I saw a sign. It said, "Notice Recomposure Area." And I thought, you know what? We need to have these in every workplace. Maybe we need to have these at the grocery store. I think that we could really have recomposure areas just about anywhere. Maybe we should have one in Congress. I think this is a great idea. Thank you, Knoxville Airport.
I was telling somebody that I work with the other day that we've been introducing our older children that are 14 and 12 to doing their own laundry.
Nice.
And one of our colleagues was like, "What? Like 12 and 14 doing that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a great, it's the washing machine's right there. That's not by hand. I mean, we don't have them on a scrub board in the sink."
You could though.
We could.
And you could
but we're talking
fence, a big long white fence too.
Exactly. So we're just trying to make sure that they have. I feel like today's society is getting a little bit easier on the younger generation, and they're having fewer opportunities to work and to do hard things. And we have this philosophy at our house that we are going to learn and appreciate how to do hard things.
Well, okay, I love to end these interviews with maybe the hardest question that I can ask you, and that is, what would little John Maris, the young version of you, say to you now?
I think that the young John Maris would tell the old John Maris to not stop having fun, to spend more time with his kids.
Yeah.
I did not think I would
It's
get
thought-provoking,
emotional
isn't
today,
it?
but
Yeah.
he would say, "Don't forget about the young ones."
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you so much for viewing Front Row to CEO, and thank you, John Maris, for joining me here on the show. And I hope that you've learned something today about leadership and about how you can strive to be in the C-suite. I'm Judy Gaman, and this was an episode of Front Row to CEO.
Well, Judy, going off of that, all of our business students in the audience, some of them came up to me before the show and they said, "Cameron, you have to ask Judy this question." So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, before they go into the business world, they're about to graduate. What is the best advice that you could give them?
Oh, this is a great question. Thank you so much for that, Cameron. And thank you all. You've been such a terrific audience. And I want to first answer the question for everybody, not just the business students. I know many of you are business students, but some of you are going into other fields. And this advice really is for everyone here today. And that is, always put your best foot forward. As a CEO, I have been amazed at how many people will actually send in a resume with typos, or, believe it or not know what a cover letter is. So many of my viewers have written into me about the book Love, Life, and Lucille, and I'm so glad that you enjoyed the journey. And I have to tell you that Lucille really embraced her new role, and her new role being something that came out of our friendship. And not only did Lucille change my life, but I think I changed Lucille's life as well. She was behind the independent living doors, and she was playing duplicate bridge. She was on the residence council. She was still very active, which we know is important to longevity. But there was still a little spark in her. There was a little bit of old Hollywood that hadn't been tapped into. And when I went out on book tour for Age to Perfection, How to Thrive to 100, Happy, Healthy, and Wise, Lucille went with me. And it didn't matter if it was TV, it was radio, whatever we were doing, she lit up the room or lit up the stage or lit up wherever we were. And I have to tell you, Lucille had a new calling. So no matter where you are in life, no matter what's going on with you right now, maybe you feel, I'm too burnt out, I'm too stressed out, I'm too old for that. Well, just like Lucille, who found a calling after 100 as a longevity expert, it doesn't matter where you're at in life. Because if you still have breath in you, you still have a purpose. Today, I'm so excited about the guests because we have Steve Eccleston, and he's a Hollywood producer with over 700 TV shows and films to his credit. And he has a passion project which I have fallen in love with. And it's a documentary called Have You Heard About Greg? I recently had somebody say, "Oh my gosh, I love following you on social media. Your life is so blissful. I can't believe all these things you do." I'm like, "Oh, I just don't post I just don't post my bad days." We all have them, but it's so easy to think that we don't because we're looking at other people's feeds and we're seeing the world through filters. Yeah, everything's filtered. You could filter anything. You filter your wrinkles off. You can, take out things in the background of photos. So it's almost like a quasi reality that we've shifted to, and our brains, we don't have the bandwidth to catch up. And I don't think we should. I don't think we should try to figure out how do we live in that filtered world, but how instead do we get back to a real sense of community.